Daith Piercings, what you should consider before getting them done. Coming up next on Consultations by a Piercer, episode number 12. So you might want to stick around. For those who are new here, welcome to the Body Piercing and Tattooing channel. Hope you're enjoying the videos, hoping you're finding them helpful, but you might not know who I am. My name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, located right here inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo in Des Moines, Iowa. Piercing we're talking about today is the Daith Piercing, or Daith Piercing, depending on who you talk to and who claims it. Here's the deal. If you go into a studio and you go, hey, I want a Daith piercing, they probably know what you're talking about. If you walk in there and go, I want a Daith piercing, they're probably going to know what you're talking about. If you go in there and say, I want the center of my ear piercing done, and then point to it, they're definitely going to know what you're talking about. I'm not going to go into a whole name thing. I've done it in the past. There's disputed ideas. Basically, what it comes down to is a guy that supposedly came up with this piercing. An old piercing that I do respect, a piercer, Eric Dakota, he claimed this big long story, and that's where the name came from. The problem is that most of us read it in print, and there wasn't any pronunciation there, so we've gotten used to saying it one way or another. According to him, the correct is doff, as in, as a goth, like, you went to the mall and picked up that doff clothing. Goth clothing. I don't know. There's a joke in there somewhere. Somewhere there's a joke in there. Anyway, this piercing has gained a huge reputation for being the Migraine Cure. I already kind of talked about this in another video about the Shaman piercing. First and foremost, no piercer you go to unless, I'm sure there's somebody out there that is, but most of us are not certified as acupuncturists. We have not studied acupuncture. We don't know anything about acupuncture. We might have experienced it ourselves. We may not have. And this is based on acupuncture and reflexology and pressure points. The idea is that the vagus nerve ends up in this area, and applying pressure or trauma to that particular area or whatever relieves headaches. A couple things on that. First off, like I said earlier, your piercer is not an acupuncturist. Chances are they don't know where that pressure point is. Second thing, acupuncture, reflexology, etc., is a lot different from getting pierced. Piercing is a permanent thing. It's not a constant pain or stimulation of the area. To a degree, maybe, I don't know. It's one of those mysteries of life that we don't know completely. But there hasn't really been any conclusive study that this helps or doesn't help. Here's what I tell all of my clients when they come in and ask about this. I've had a lot of clients that claim up and down that it was the best thing that ever happened to them. It cured their migraines. They don't have the issue anymore, and they're living the happy life. I've also had quite a few clients that have said it made absolutely no difference or worked for a short period of time. How much of this is actual physical and how much of this is mental, who knows? Here's the thing, though. One way or another, if it works or doesn't work, you're being proactive. And I'm very positive in that area. Anything you can do to make your life better. The second thing is even if it doesn't work, it's a beautiful piercing to have. It fits really well into the ear. It looks beautiful with the right type of jewelry. It really accents the ear a lot. It's just a great piercing. So one way or another, it's a win-win situation. But if you walk into this thinking, oh yes, it's going to cure my health issues, you may be disappointed. In any piercer that claims 100% that it's going to, I would be rather leery of. With that out of the way, let's talk about healing time. Average healing time on this is anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. Everybody heals different. It can always be longer, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months. It varies from person to person. During that period of time, I'm going to suggest cleaning twice daily using a sterile saline solution. I like Nelman's Piercing Aftercare. You can find, everybody always asks me what substitutes are, what they can get. Most drugstores are going to have a version of it. And what you want to look for is a pressurized can. It should say sterile on it. When you turn it over and look at the ingredients, it should say nothing but sodium chloride and water. Nothing else. If it does, that's not what you want. So you want to clean with that twice a day through the whole healing. Also, I suggest at the end of your shower, you pull your hair out of the way and everything out of the way, and you let the water flow over the area for about 30 seconds just to rinse off any soap, shampoo, what have you. It's also good at helping to reduce the amount of discharge or crusties that collects on the jewelry. Now, crust contamination prevention, everybody's favorite thing. Wash your hands before you handle it. No oral contact or exchange of bodily fluids on, near, or around the piercing. Keep your environment clean. Clothing, bedding, towels, anything that may come in contact with that piercing needs to be disinfected, or contact needs to be completely avoided. Do not submerge piercing in bodies of water you cannot control the quality of, which is pretty much everything but your own clean bathtub. So no swimming. Don't care what you've been told. No swimming until it's healed. There's microorganisms in that water. Keep pets away from it. Don't let them sleep in the bed with you, especially the smaller animals that like to sleep up by your face and steal your soul while you're sleeping. Avoid contact with unclean objects, telephones, headphones, etc. Earbuds, ear plugs, stethoscopes, all of those things can contaminate the piercing. Avoid contact with wet hair. Make sure your hair is dry before it comes in contact with the piercing. Wear it up in a fancy towel or a fun bun. Now let's talk about trauma, pressure, and abuse. Don't abuse your piercings. Don't sleep on the piercing. Sleep on your other side or your back. Make sure, if you can't and you have to sleep on that side, invest in a U-shaped travel pillow. Put a clean sock on it and sleep with your ear cemented in the inside of it. The constant pressure, movement, etc. throughout the healing or during the night throughout the healing will cause issues, including bumps, prolonged healing, and possible other problems, etc. Avoid tight-fitting helmets, hats, scarves, sunglasses, etc. Anything that's going to put pressure or have contact with it on a regular basis is probably going to cause issues. Do not spin, rotate, or move the jewelry, regardless of what someone told you at one point. There's absolutely no reason to do that. It's actually going to prolong a healing period and cause issues. The other thing is earbuds and stethoscopes and etc. You may or may not be able to wear those after it heals, even after it's completely healed. During the healing process, if it's uncomfortable or there's constant contact, I really advise not doing it. If you're in the medical profession, you really do need to consider this before you get this piercing done. If you're one of those people that's addicted to earbuds, you're going to have to do without them for a while. Or do mono. Jewelry. These are usually done with either, I prefer ring or circular jewelry. Rings, circular barbells. Our number one thing that we use here at this Axiom is circular barbells. Just easier to get in and out and take care of. Curved barbells is also a possibility. I've had plenty of clients that seem to have had no issue with those either. They just seem to be a little bit more complicated to deal with, in my opinion. They're hard to grip and hard to get to. So those are your three options. Do not pierce with clickers or hinge rings. Those clickers, those hinge rings can agitate the piercing, or worst case scenario is if they have the seams, is one of those seams will work its way into the piercing, and then your body starts growing tissue into it. Have fun. After it heals, though, the clickers and the hinge rings are really good options because they're a little easier to change if you want to. Pain. This piercing is a one-push piercing. It can be a little uncomfortable because depending on which way they have to go, either bottom to top or top to bottom, it may involve kind of putting pressure on this upper part of the ear and wedging that in there, or using a curved needle or something. Sometimes these can be a little uncomfortable with a lot of pressure. It's not as bad as you probably think it's going to be. This one is, most people say, doesn't hurt that much. I don't know if it's because we've done it with so many people that live with migraines that their pain threshold and experience is so high that they don't think it hurts, or if it really isn't. Pretty quick, straight piercing, not really complicated as much as other piercings. Afterwards, you're going to have a little bit of throbbing, aching for a few minutes, heat, of course, and then it's going to be tender to the touch. It's going to let you know every time you bump it. So, and that's telling you don't bump it. Leave it alone. As far as anatomy, that ridge needs to be there and pronounced enough to do the piercing safely and have enough to anchor that jewelry so that it doesn't reject and can lay flat to the ear. I have seen them done where they're done really deep, almost into the ear canal, and the jewelry, instead of laying flat, will stick outward. So it's really important that you have enough tissue there to kind of support it, but they don't have to go so deep that it's going to cause that issue. What to consider? Here's some things you should probably consider also before you get it done. If you're going on vacation or you're a swimmer, if you're going on vacation, it's always best to wait until you come back. Postpone getting the piercing until you are back in your own home environment. When we go on vacation, it can be stressful. It can also be one more thing you have to deal with that you don't really have the time for, and you have no way of controlling the environments that you're in. So it can make it very difficult to take care of the piercing while you're on vacation. The other thing with vacations is we tend to want to go to the swimming pool. You do not want to swim with this piercing, especially if it's fresh. Also, if you're a swimmer, it might be best to wait until you can take some time away from doing that, or winter starts, or what have you, to get this piercing done. So by the time you're ready to swim again, it's fully healed. Now, organizations, sports, drama, activities, anything that has a dress code, you should always check with the person in charge to find out whether or not you can have this piercing and wear it. You do not want to go in a situation where you can't. You have to basically abandon the piercing, or you're trying to take this jewelry in and out every single day or every other day. It is not easy to change this piece of jewelry. You can't see what you're doing, and you can't really feel what you're doing. And usually it takes some form of assistance to get it done. So talk ahead of time. If they don't allow it, wait until after you're done with that activity before you get the piercing done. Last thing, sleeping and isolating. I already said a bunch about this already, but I do not know how to stress this enough. Isolating that piercing, keeping things away from it, is going to make the piercing heal easier, faster, and with less problems. If you like this video, found it helpful, found it useful, share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, if you have a question or you'd like to add something, leave a comment. If you like merch, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. Till next time, here's hoping you'll be piercing heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care and check out one of these videos.